still a bunch of people in the lobby. We're going to give it a couple more minutes. There's the first shot. No, I think we have to look around.
Now we can begin. Yay! So welcome everyone to Westside Unitarian Universalist Church on this special celebratory day. I am the Reverend Carol Bodeau. I am privileged to serve. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. Westside is a place where the spirit of love unites us, where our desire to care for one another and the world connects us in common action, and where our community is thriving because of the diversity of gifts and talents and passions and energies that you all bring here. If you are with us virtually, a special welcome to you. We are glad to have you with us. Whether you're here at the time this service is occurring or at some point in the future, you are part of this community too. We are a community that gathers for joys and sorrows, to challenge the world and to share our challenges together. Today, we are going to do a lot of collaborative singing. So, yeah, I saw those. I saw a couple of faces like, oh no. So we are going to do some collaborative singing as an exercise in community building. So you'll notice in the order of the service that the songs we're singing today, with all the exception of Lean on Me, are songs that we're going to sing, the choir is going to help lead them, and we're going to sing them a cappella, and we are going to sing them sort of call and response and in rounds. So I'm going to invite the choir to come up. Come on up, choir, to help us out with this.
The first song we're going to sing it's Come, Come, Whoever You Are. So the words are, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair, come yet again come. You don't have to memorize all those. Hum along, some of you know it. Okay, so the tables make this a little complicated. So what we're going to do is we're going to sing it all together twice. All right? We'll give you a chance to get the melody and to sort of get the words. And then we're going to do it as a round. And this group over here is going to start, which means all of you all on that side table, you guys on that side table, you in the middle get to decide. Because we're UUs, you get to choose. They will start us, and this group will do the second batch. And you guys in the middle can decide which group you want to be in. So we're going to sing it through twice. Are you ready? Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet, all together again. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Now you over here. Come, come, whoever you are. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Come. One more time. Keep going. Come, come, then come. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Good job. You can give yourselves a round of applause. That was impressive. Even if you don't know the words, even if you've never been here before, even if it's all new to you, this is a place where you can join in. In a minute, Chris is going to sing the bowl for us, and it sings to help us come together, but I will make a couple of quick announcements. Yes, we are celebrating special events today. If you are visiting for the first time, or you're visiting virtually for the first time, it doesn't usually look like this in here. I did get married a week ago to my wonderful husband, Tracy. And also, it's been 10 years since I started at Westside. So we're having a little anniversary party too. So we are having our usual potluck, but while we get the food set up and things like that, for those of you who aren't able to stay for the potluck, there's coffee and a little bit of time just to gather. So a lot has happened in the last 10 years. Some of you have been here for the whole 10 years. A lot has happened, and a lot is happening now as we build our future together. There are announcements in the order of service, or they were scrolling on your screen. You can also check them out on our website or in our e-news. But all of those things are not right this minute. So as Chris invites the bowl to sound, I invite you to allow the sound of the bowl to bring you here, right now, whether that's in the future somewhere, wherever you are listening, or right here in this room. As the bowl sings, we take a deep breath and we allow ourselves to become fully present. David Howell has our words for the chalice lighting, and Shirley McGuire is going to light our chalice this morning.
The reading for the chalice lighting today is a poem called The Summer Day by Mary Oliver. I chose it at least partly because it ends with a question that I can imagine so easily Reverend Carol having asked herself this question, answered differently than the poem answers it perhaps, but asks herself this question and continues to do so. And what a model that is, certainly for me, and I think for all of us. A summer's day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out of the grass. The one who is eating sugar out of my hand. Who is moving her jaws back and forth, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all the day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
Thanks, David and Shirley. What do we want to do with our wild and precious lives? It has been 10 years, I cannot believe it has been 10 years since I came here. How quickly time passes, how quickly those lives fly by. It's worthwhile to stop and ask that question, what do I want to do with this precious moment? I am very aware of how quickly the last decade has passed here. Some of you have been here for that whole decade. Some of you have been nearby for that decade. And some of you are just here for the first time. Together, we make history. So today, we're going to take a little romp through the history of Westside, just the last 10 years. We don't have time to go all the way back, the 35 or so years that Westside has existed. So with a little help from the worship team and the choir, and you guys are going to help out a little bit, we're going to take a little bit of a tour through the last decade here at Westside. So imagine it's 2014. Reverend Morris Hudgens was here serving as interim minister. And what that means for those of you who are unfamiliar with it is that when a settled minister leaves a congregation, the congregation has what's called an interim minister for 1 or 2 years while they are searching for a new settled long-term minister. So Reverend Morris Hudgens was here in 2014. He had started in late 2013, and he was here for 2 years while the congregation was searching for a new minister after the departure of the previous minister, Reverend Mitra Jafarzadeh. So, meanwhile, I had moved to Tennessee in 2012, and from 2013 to 2014, I was working in Oak Ridge, serving that congregation as an interim assistant minister. Well, some of you know Tandy Scheffler. Tandy was off being trained as a minister. So I was in Oak Ridge. That year had some big events at Westside. I was in Oak Ridge coordinating our OWL program, which is a sexuality education program that we do. I was coordinating that for all the churches in the area from Oak Ridge, but Westside was hosting it. Does anybody remember what happened the year that we were hosting OWL in the winter at Westside, and it got really cold one day? Does anybody remember what happened in the hallway? Somebody go ahead and shout it out. All the pipes burst in the hallway. And what's interesting about this building is that the water pipes in the education wing are in the ceiling. So actually, I knew all about it because I was in Oak Ridge and we had to cancel our program that we were hosting for the cluster. Some of you might remember that the person in charge of the educational programs at that time was Steve Ballinger. He was the religious education director. He is now the head of the company that takes care of our lawns. So we still see Steve regularly during the summer. So partway through that program, all the pipes froze. All the water gushed down the hallway walls, and everyone who was here then had to clean it up. I was not here for that part, I just heard about it. But Steve left at the end of that church year as the education director, and I came in as the education director. I was done at Oak Ridge. So I came in July, late June, last week in June of 2014. Now, with the encouragement of Reverend Morris, I decided that I wanted to be considered for the job of minister here. Remember, they were in search. And there is as some of you might have heard from Helen recently, when Helen did a service on how UU ministry works, the search process is super complicated. So the way the search process usually works is it's like dating. It's like online dating, okay? Ministers have packets. Used to be that we had paper packets that we had to mail to everybody. And churches had packets that they had to mail to everybody. Now it's all online. But it's like online dating. So a minister has a website and a portfolio, and a church has a portfolio, and they trade information. But I was already here. I didn't do that. So I was what was considered an inside candidate. I had started working here in late June, and I wanted to be considered for the position of minister. So we kind of did a little bit of a non-traditional process. An inside candidate is someone who already works in a congregation who then is considered as the applicant for the position. They are not considered with any other candidates. They are considered before any other candidates, separate from any other candidates. And here's the catch that many of you might not have known. In UU ministry, how many of you have been part of a vote for a minister? Have been part of sitting in the room when you're voting for a minister? Okay. Did you know that we ministers have a very strict rule about the vote? You cannot go to a congregation that has more than one vote against you, ever, under any circumstances. It either needs to be unanimous. If it's a really, really huge congregation, you might be willing to go with 2 no votes, but it's not about a democratic process. The deal is if there's 2 or 3 or 4 people who don't want you there within the first year, that quickly becomes 20 or 30 or 40 reasons for you not to be there. So you are only going to take that call, you're only going to accept that call if there's at most, in a congregation this size, 1 person voting against you. Now that gets even more complicated if you're an inside candidate. If you're an inside candidate and you don't get basically a unanimous vote, not only do you not get the position, but you have to quit your job and leave. Because you cannot stay in a position as someone who had applied for the ministry position with a new minister showing up. Too many people in the building are going to wish it had been you. And out of respect for our colleagues, we don't do that. So I knew as an inside candidate, and the UUA made it very clear to me, that if it wasn't basically a unanimous, maybe 1 vote against me vote, not only would I not get the job, but I would have to leave the job I had. So we were taking a pretty big risk at that time. Fortunately, the vote was unanimous. And I remember Lori. Do you remember this, Lori? Lori Allion. I was sitting out behind the desk out there, the DRE's desk, and in the room, things were happening. the congregation. The way that worked was we had meetings. You know, I said I wanted to be considered. I met with everybody. I had office hours, things like that. And then in October of that year, everybody got together in this room while I was sitting out there and talked about me. And Lori came out afterwards and said, "It went well." So what that meant was I was called in October of 2014, but I didn't begin doing ministry until January of 2015. Reverend Morris, at that time, he was working 30 hours a week as minister, and I was working 20 hours a week as DRE, Director of Religious Education. He said, "Let's switch hours. You take 30, I'll take 20. He was like ready for retirement. He was like, "Go ahead, you take the extra 10 hours. It'll be fine." So we actually co-ministered from January of 2015 until he left in the summer. Now, one other really important thing happened during that spring, during Reverend Morris's last few months here. Does anybody remember what the big change on our grounds was that Reverend Morris was so instrumental in? Yeah. He was instrumental in making sure that our water feature next to our memorial garden was put in place, the Linda Krager Memorial Water Feature, in memory of Dwayne Krager's wife, Linda Krager, who was killed during the shooting at Tennessee Valley a few years before. And that's a really important legacy of Reverend Hudgens' time here, making sure that that water feature was completed. Now, some of the worship team are going to come up and tell us some other things that were happening during the years between 2015 and 2020.
Okay, so we've gotten to 2015 now in this review of our history. In 2015, as Carol began serving as minister, we'd lost our DRE, so Wendy Weiss was hired as DRE to replace Carol in that role as she shifted into the role of minister. The summer and fall of 2015 saw a lot of upgrades around our physical building as we used the installation of a new minister, Reverend Carol, as an excuse to repaint the walls and add rugs in the classrooms and generally just spiff everything up and make it look clean and tidy. During that year, we also hosted a cluster-wide workshop on nonviolent communication, which is where Carol got sucked into her passion, those are her words, for compassionate communication that has become so important to Westside's culture. Lots of us have attended classes, workshops, and practice groups for compassionate communication, as well as teasing her about it endlessly and also creating skits depicting it at some of our auctions. In the fall of 2015, we held Carol's installation service. It was a wonderful opportunity to bring together a choir made up of singers from our whole cluster.
All right, so we're up to 2016 to 18, and during the years between Carol's installation and the big changes that would happen in 2020, lots of things were going on here at Westside. Monthly potlucks were, of course, important, as were the religious exploration classes that we held for both adults and children. Wendy and Carol led a youth group trip to General Assembly in Columbus, Ohio, and we participated in local events such as the Knox Pride Parades, the Pride Interfaith Service, and the MLK, Martin Luther King Parade. We hosted our annual Hogwarts summer camps. I don't know how many of you are familiar with those, but I thought they were just wonderful. They had lots of Quidditch games outside in the far field and classes, such as, I think I taught a potions class. That was a lot of fun. And games based around the theme of Harry Potter books, and of course tie-dyeing t-shirts with help from Christina. Fall retreats were held at Pickett State Park, and they continued as they had for years, with games, puzzles, and meals in the Big Lodge, and hikes led by Jerry and Alice Thornton and others. Passover Seders were held a few times with help from Richard and Shirley and others. And there were plays and special gatherings for holidays in our annual solstice spiral. Adult RE classes like Aging to Saging, Building Your Own Theology, and various workshops were held throughout the years.
Okay, so there was a lot going on, and it involved a lot of coordination. We had a lot to be grateful for. So now, this is your chance. This is participatory, right? We don't want you to just sit there and listen. One of the things that's really important to the culture of Westside is that we are collaborative. This is not a top-down institution. This is a collaborative institution. So we're going to sing a call and response kind of song. Are you all ready? Choir, you need to come up to help lead this. I have agreed to be a follower in this. They are leading, and I am going to follow. You guys copy me. They're going to sing a line, then we're going to sing it back. Let's do it twice. Okay?
Oh, we give thanks.
Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for those gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. For this precious, that was practice. Let's do it again.
Oh, we give thanks.
Oh, we give thanks
For this precious day.
for this precious day, for those gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. And we give thanks for the choir. Thank you. All right, and David is going to tell us a little bit about 2018 to 2019.
In 2018, the 4 local UU churches hosted the annual meeting of the UUA board meeting by holding a joint worship service at Rothschild's Event Center. Nearly 800 UUs gathered that Sunday morning in one place. For the next year, things seem to be going generally quite well in the UU world of Knoxville, Tennessee, as that gathering gave us a sense of combined energy and purpose. At Westside, we established a new endowment fund and began offering multiple options for long-term giving to support the congregation's future. But as we all know, the world would change rather dramatically and quickly in early 2020.
Dun, dun, dun. But it's not a mystery because we all know what happened. So, you know, that year, the year that COVID hit had already started on a challenging note for us here at Westside because we had lost, within a few weeks of each other, 2 really kind of foundational people in our congregation. Bill Calhoun, who was a founding member, and Mary Donovan, who had been here almost since the very beginning. They passed within weeks of each other. So that year started with us mourning their deaths. And as we were reeling from those losses, the pandemic that would change the face of not just this institution, but church all over the world, and really all the ways we gather socially happened. I was here, it was Friday the 13th. I was in the building, I was in my office meeting with a lay leader from Tennessee Valley UU when we both got the message that the entire world was shutting down because of the pandemic. We were quickly plunged into the world of COVID, and everything, most of everything of how we do things at Westside changed dramatically and quickly. But as we're going to hear, the core of how we stay together as a community didn't change, so we were able to come through it. So a little bit more information from our worship team about how we handled that.
Well, with the help of our incredibly capable administrator, Brad Kurtz, who this morning he is the wizard almost behind the curtain back there. You folks who are with us virtually especially need to give Brad a big virtual clap, because he's primarily responsible for getting this, excuse me, getting this out to you guys. But with the help of Brad, we were able to begin creating and broadcasting virtual ministry messages, and then to have online Sunday services and Zoom coffee hours. The board created a team to track the pandemic and advise on how to meet, when to consider reopening, and how to keep us as a congregation safe.
Pretty soon, we were getting very experienced at delivering online content, and by the spring of the following year, in 2021, we had decided to begin meeting in person outdoors whenever possible, and I personally really enjoyed those outdoor services. We had our first outdoor service on Easter of 2021, and that continued, and in-person services were held through the continued outdoors, in-person services through the fall of that year. And during that time, we finally got the hang of taking donations through online platforms, bringing us up to the whatever century we're in, and also moved our book clubs online where it still meets, and created our Wednesday and Thursday evening discussion groups that many of you are part of.
By the time we got back together inside again for good in the fall of 2022, we were ready to think about letting go of the pass the plate portion of our worship service and replace it with the now ubiquitous QR code. Well, it's sort of ubiquitous. I haven't used it yet. And since fall of 2022, there has been a new rush of energy and enthusiasm coming back to Westside in wonderful and exciting ways.
So even when we couldn't meet in the building, even when we couldn't have potlucks, and everybody who was here remembers that the loss of the potluck was a big deal, because Unitarian Universalists love their potlucks. Even when we couldn't do that, even when we couldn't hold classes in person, even when we couldn't sing once we got back together, the thing is that the heart of the community was still strong. And because we focused on that, we were able to come back stronger than ever. So here's just a short list of some of the exciting things that have happened at Westside since we moved into that new 21st century identity. So we had an extremely successful mortgage campaign, which was spearheaded by the late Carol Coffey, who died just as that campaign was beginning. But part of that legacy of his life as he was becoming board president that year was to help with a team of people to spearhead a mortgage campaign which paid off our mortgage. Yay! Our mortgage is paid off. We revived the stewardship team, and what the stewardship team does is devote attention to the long-term financial health of the congregation. Instead of the short-term kind of emergency mode, we can now focus on the long term. We created a new marketing team, and that oversees a new aesthetics team. You're going to see some changes in the coming months. Some plans are underway to do some amazing things aesthetically around here. Earth Church, which for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, is an earth-based spiritual community that meets the third Sunday afternoon of every month. Earth Church became a formal ministry of Westside, and that group is thriving with monthly gatherings and also special big events in the spring and the fall. We have done some security and safety work, so we've installed a whole new security camera system. We are planning for trainings and protocols to help us stay healthy and safe together, including some basic CPR training and things like that. We have started a second service. We have a second service that is before this one on Sunday mornings at 9:30. Spiritual practices. We do meditation. Sometimes we do yoga. Sometimes we do other surprising things. And this morning, we had our first of what will be an ongoing series of First Sunday drumming circles on Sunday mornings at 9:30. So first Sunday of each month, if you want to join us. If you were here and you thought that was a good thing, raise your hand. If you enjoyed yourself. Yes, see, some people who are like, I don't know, like it was really fun. So we have drumming circles going. And we, as the team was mentioning, we stopped passing the plate. And I want to explain why we stopped passing the plate. Because it seems kind of embarrassing. Have you ever had the experience of the plate coming past you and not putting anything in it and wondering who was watching? I have. Or the passing the plate was actually, that original practice was designed to shame you into giving money. But we are not a fear-based community. We are a love-based community. So we have trust and faith that you will bring the gifts that are right for you to this community. There is always a box in the back of the room that you can drop a check or some cash in, and it has the QR code on it if you want to use your phone. And you can get the QR code on our website, and you can get the QR code on the YouTube. We have trust and faith here that everybody's gifts matter, and that you will give what you are ready and what is best for you to give, whether that is time, energy, wisdom, curiosity, whatever it is. We call this justice and generosity. And this year, that focus on justice and generosity means that for the first time since I've been here in 10 years, instead of having a just barely squeaking by budget, going into our congregational meeting, our budget, we had over $600 more pledged to this congregation than we had asked for in our visionary budget. And then Craig Branch, our treasurer, came in on the day of the meeting and said, wait, we've got some more pledges. And we actually approved a budget a few weeks ago where we had $2,000 surplus beyond what we had asked for. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. As I said at the beginning, love is what connects us, not fear. Love that takes us through joys and challenges. Our ability to care for one another, to take care of each other, and to care about the world, and to make practical steps to care for the world keeps us connected to each other and to our larger community. And that allows us to thrive as a community. So you get to sing again in celebration of that. All right, so we're going to sing this song called Sing and Rejoice, which is not only about making it through the tough years and challenges, but actually celebrating vitality. The words are simple. I'm going to teach them to you. You can just repeat after me. Sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice.
Let all things living now sing and rejoice.
Easy, right? Choir, please come up and help me. We're going to sing it. We'll sing it as a call and response. We'll all sing it to you, and you sing it back to us, okay? We'll do it twice, right? Here we go. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice. Again, sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice. Give yourselves a hand for doing that. That's the other thing that's really important, especially in a small community. See, the thing right now in our world is that the problems are ginormous. They're huge. It is a weird moment in history. Just the politics of the last week. Bend the imagination. It is a weird time in history. The problems we face as a global community are beyond the scope, not even of our ability to fathom them, let alone fix them. I will be sort of like a traditional preacher now and say, is anybody overwhelmed? Can I get an amen? Amen. Right? It's overwhelming. And in the face of that overwhelm, we need to feel like we can do something. And that's the catch. In a small community, celebrating what we can do instead of freaking out about what we can't do is the lifeblood of thriving. Celebrating what's possible instead of beating ourselves up for all the things we didn't accomplish is how we keep going. It's how we keep faith. It's how we keep hope. It's how we keep joy in our lives. So we're celebrating today. And I was thinking as I was driving here that, okay, so I'm giving y'all, Tracy and I are giving y'all an excuse for a party. Great. But what we're really celebrating is the arc of this community, which was founded so many years ago. And I want to take a minute to just speak the names of some of the people who have passed in the last 10 years, who are no longer with us, who were part of making this community able to celebrate and thrive today. And we may have forgotten a couple because some people, maybe I didn't know that well. So when I get to the end of this list, if I've forgotten anybody from the last 10 years, I'm going to invite you to shout them out. So we're remembering the gifts of Carol Sollenberg. Is it Sollenberg or Sollenberger? Sollenberg. I've heard both. People have said both. Of Kenneth McKinnon, Mary Donovan, Bill Calhoun, Sue Draper, Bob Petrak, Hank Hewitt, Carol Coffey, Jim Winchester, Chuck Flanagan, Susan Wetling, and Joe and Mary Ann Barnhart. Is there anybody else? Say that again, Jerry.
It was Nina Fanon.
Nina Fanon. Nina Fanon, okay. Robin. Yes, what's Robin's last name?
Hill.
Robin Hill, absolutely, Robin Hill. Let's just take a minute and be grateful. I get choked up when I think of those people. Their willingness to not give up hope, because they had had challenges. COVID was not the first challenge to hit Westside. I know there's some of you thinking amen when you hear that. COVID was not the first challenge to hit Westside. People who didn't give up hope, people who kept going, people who found a new way. Those are the people who make it possible for us to be here together celebrating. And in 10 years, and in 10 more years, and in 10 more years, hopefully there will be people saying, thank goodness that those people were willing to keep gathering, keep finding love, keep caring, keep connecting, right? So let's just take a minute to remember those and all the others who contributed to us being here today. So we're going to celebrate love, and Judy and Sandra, it is your time. So we are focusing on love. The UUA, in like a week or two, is going to be voting on this new focus that has love at the center. Just as we say love unites us, the denomination of Unitarian Universalism has recommitted to focusing on love. And since I just got married, I'm kind of focused there right now, too. So Judy and Sandra have a song.
I'm going to give a little intro. So when we heard there was going to be a party to celebrate this wedding, I got together with Sandra and it says, wouldn't it make the party more fun if we did some kind of a popular love song dedicated to the happy new couple? And she agreed that'd be a great thing to do. So we both agreed on that this was the song that seemed just right for them. It had to be you. It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found that somebody who could make me be true, could make me be blue, and even be glad just to be sad, thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do, for nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might never be cross or try to be boss, but they wouldn't do, for nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you.
Thank you, Judy and Sandra. I will say that for me, it did have to be you, and it did have to be you, right? It had to be you. I guess it had to be me. I will tell you a funny story that I don't tell very often. So the deal with that ministry search is this. If you're thinking about being a minister in a congregation and you're in the regular search process, you're doing the online dating version, you cannot go to anything at the church you're hoping to be a candidate for anytime. I think it's either, for sure, 1 year, maybe 2 years in advance of that. Okay, so let's say I'm a minister and I'm thinking, wow, I really want to be the minister at Westside. And Westside happens to know I'm around, and they say, well, you want to come do a sermon? You say, sorry, can't, not available. Or they say, you want to be part of a workshop? Sorry, can't, not available, right? So I was actually, from the first time I came in the building, which was long before any of you met me, except maybe one or two of you somewhere else, I was studiously avoiding coming in the building because I knew from the first minute I walked in here that this was my church. So long before Reverend Morris said, come on, come along and take the DRE position, we already knew that I was going to be seeking to be an inside candidate here. Like, he was like, come on, we'll do the inside candidate thing, it'll go well. Well before that, I had visited the building at a minister's meeting. Reverend Mitra was still here. Reverend Mitra hosted a minister's gathering in this room for lunch. And I came for lunch. I didn't have a job at that time. I had moved to the area, but I was just trying to find out who the other ministers were and network. And I came for lunch. And I walked down the hallway and I saw the mural on the wall, and I had the strangest feeling. And I thought, this is my church. This is my church. And that, okay, weird, woo. You all know I'm woo-woo. I'm woo-woo Carol. But here's what happened. Some of you know Reverend Chris Bice, who was my mentor for a number of years and has been in the area for a very long time. We left together that day. Our cars were parked next to one another in the parking lot. And as we walked to our cars, Chris looked at me and he said, I don't know why, Carol, but I just have the feeling this is your church. And he said, and that's saying a lot, because I've been here a long time and I know a lot of ministers, but I just have a feeling that if there's a good fit for Westside, it's you. And that was before I went to Oak Ridge, and that was before I came here. So it did have to be you. It did have to be you. So much as we're celebrating me and Tracy, we are celebrating you and this community. Because this isn't my church, it's your church. It's our church. It's our community. We will be the ones who keep it alive. We collectively will be the ones who make a difference for a future generation. So we're gonna sing again. But this time it's a song you know, and there are words. Okay, so if you open those blue hymnals that are on your tables, y'all know this song, Lean on Me When You're Not Strong. We are going to sing Lean on Me, all right? But we're going to do it different than it's written, so you're all going to have to follow and collaborate, okay?
Notice it's 10:21, not 10.
And the number is wrong, thank you. You congregation, people are absolutely happy to point out when we've made a mistake. Love that. It's not 10:10, it's 10:21. We help each other stay on track. Number 10:21. So here's what we're going to do. If you can read music, just ignore the fact that you can read music. Just ignore it, okay? We're going to sing the first verse. Then we're going to sing the second verse. Then we're going to do that part where you go, just call on me, brother. We're going to do that. And then we're going to sing the third verse. And I've just decided I don't want to play the piano because I don't want to be over there. We're going to do it a cappella because you all know this song, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab some music. I'm going to give us a first note, and then we're going to sing it. Come on, Horace, you can stand up. Oh, let's do it lower than that. Is that too high? Some. How about that? All right, we're going to sing two verses, then we're going to do the lean on me, the call on me, brother part, and then we're going to sing the last verse. All right? You ready? Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Second verse, please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean. Okay, just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Last verse, if there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lead. All right. So normally at this point in our service, I make you stand up, but I won't do that today because it would be complicated with the tables in the middle. But if you want to hold hands with your neighbors at your table, you're welcome to do that. Hold hands, you two. Set the tone. Set the tone, Chris and Tracy. Set the tone. I'll come hold hands with them. Like they're serious, man. They're like brother hugging here. Okay. So lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. It won't be long till I'm going to need somebody to lean on. That is the point of community. The point of a marriage, the point of a church, the point of any relationship is mutual care and mutual accomplishment. So as we go into this celebration this afternoon, and also as you go into your week and into the rest of your life, know that this is a place where you are cared for, where your gifts are welcome, and where we can, in fact, transform the world through our liberating love. Go in joy, go in peace, go in passion. And please stick around to eat, because I happen to know there's a lot of food.